The Menglong Du Qiang taxi scandal. What the camera didn't see. At exactly 11:47 p.m., a taxi door slammed shut on a rain-soaked Beijing side street, and in that single, grainy moment, a story was born. The video was only 9 seconds long. No sound, no context, just a flicker of streetlight, the blurred outline of a back seat, and two silhouettes frozen in ambiguity. By morning, the internet had named it the taxi scandal. By nightfall, it had become something far more dangerous. 1. The clip that changed everything. The footage appeared without warning on a minor gossip forum, posted by an anonymous account with no history and no explanation. The caption was deceptively simple. They thought the camera was off. Within hours, names were attached to the shadows. Menglong
Du Qiang.
Two figures from very different corners of the entertainment machine, now trapped in the same frame, inside the same taxi, at the same impossible hour. The clip showed Menglong entering the vehicle first, head down, hood pulled low. Du Qiang followed seconds later, glancing sharply over his shoulder before sliding the door shut. The taxi pulled away. That was it. No confrontation. No dialogue. No crime. And yet, the internet exploded. 2. The power of what isn't shown. In the age of constant surveillance, silence is suspicious. Comment sections became crime scenes of their own. Every pixel was dissected. Every reflection in the window enlarged. A shadow moving in the back seat was slowed down, reversed, color-corrected, and annotated with red arrows and bold claims. What are they hiding? Why so late? Why together? The more the footage revealed nothing, the more people filled the void. But what no one seemed to notice was the most unsettling detail of all. Round pushpin, the angle was wrong. The camera wasn't placed like a dash cam. It wasn't positioned like a traffic cam. It was too intimate, too close. As if someone inside the taxi already knew exactly where to point it. 3. The taxi driver who vanished. Reporters scrambled to identify the driver. Ride-hailing records were mysteriously incomplete. The taxi company issued a short, carefully worded statement. We are unable to confirm the identity of the driver involved due to a system error. A system error. 2 days later, a blogger claiming to have spoken to a man matching the driver's description posted a chilling update. He stopped answering calls. His number is disconnected. No police report. No missing person notice. Just absence. And absence, in China's entertainment ecosystem, often speaks louder than scandal. 4. Du Qiang's silence. Du Qiang did not deny the video. He did not confirm it either. Instead, his social media accounts went dark, except for one post, uploaded at 3:13 a.m., then deleted within minutes. Screenshots survived. It showed a single image, a taxi dashboard at night, rain streaking across the windshield. And 4 words: cameras don't lie. People do. The message was gone before sunrise. But the damage was permanent. 5. Menglong's vanishing act. Menglong's response was more unsettling. He disappeared. Scheduled appearances were canceled. Brand endorsements quietly removed his image from websites. A drama he had already filmed was suddenly postponed indefinitely. Insiders whispered that his phone was no longer reachable. Friends refused to comment. His agency issued a statement so vague it raised more questions than it answered. Mr. Yu is resting and reflecting. Reflecting on what? The video showed nothing illegal, nothing explicit, nothing definitive. Unless, of course, the real story was never meant to be seen on camera at all. 6. What the camera didn't see. A former post-production editor, speaking anonymously, made a startling claim on a live stream before it was abruptly cut off. That clip was edited. Not cut, but selectively preserved. According to him, the original footage was much longer. Minutes, not seconds. But only 9 seconds survived.
Why?
Because the most important part of the story wasn't visual. It was auditory. What was said inside that taxi, he claimed, was never meant for public ears. Contracts. Deadlines. Obligations that don't expire when fame fades. and a phrase that allegedly made everyone in the room go silent. You signed. There's no exit. 7. The industry's open secret. Veteran fans weren't surprised. The entertainment world has long been rumored to run on invisible ink, agreements that bind, favors that accumulate interest, careers built on compliance rather than talent. The taxi, some speculated, wasn't a meeting place. It was a handover point. No paper, no witnesses, just motion, noise, and darkness. A place where promises are reminded and consequences are implied. If true, the scandal wasn't about what happened inside the taxi. It was about why it happened there at all. 8. The final frame. Days later, a second clip surfaced. Even shorter. Just the taxi driving away, its taillights dissolving into rain. No people. No faces. But etched faintly into the reflection of the rear window was something no one could explain. A small red recording, which raised the final, terrifying question. If that was the camera we saw, video camera, who was holding the one we didn't? 9. Aftermath. The story slowly vanished from trending lists, replaced by new scandals, new distractions, new noise. But Menglong never returned to the public eye. Du Qiang resurfaced months later, older somehow, quieter, careful with every word. And the taxi? That license plate number was never found again. 10. The truth that lingers. Some stories end with answers. This one ended with unease. Because the most powerful scandals are not the ones that reveal too much, but the ones that reveal just enough to make you wonder what was erased. The Menglong Du Qiang taxi scandal was never about what the camera showed. It was about what it refused to show. And somewhere, in a dark server or a forgotten hard drive, the rest of the footage may still exist, waiting for the wrong moment to surface. Until then, the taxi keeps driving. And the industry keeps pretending it never got in. Inside the silence the camera missed. The city didn't sleep after the clip went viral. It listened. Rain tapped windows like impatient fingers, neon bled into puddles, and somewhere between midnight and morning, people began to understand that the taxi wasn't just a vehicle. It was a confessional on wheels, a moving room where truths were exchanged because they could never be written down. And the camera? It only caught the door closing. 1. The ride that didn't exist. Transportation records for that night were scrubbed clean within 48 hours. No GPS trail. No digital receipt. Even the traffic cameras along the route showed gaps. 30 seconds here, a minute there, like the city blinked on command. An anonymous dispatcher later whispered to a journalist, that ride was flagged before it even started. Flagged by whom? She wouldn't say. Inside the taxi, according to a source who claimed access to secondary footage, the atmosphere was surgical. No raised voices. No drama. Just controlled breathing and the low hum of the engine, as if everyone knew this conversation had happened before, many times, just with different names. 2. Du Qiang's hands. What the 9-second clip didn't show was Du Qiang's hands. They were shaking. Not with fear, witnesses said, but with restraint. He kept them folded, knuckles whitening, nails digging into skin as if holding onto something invisible. At one point, he glanced toward the rearview mirror, not at the driver, but at the tiny red reflection blinking near the ceiling. Recording. He didn't react. He adjusted his posture. People who survive systems like this learn quickly. Panic is evidence. Calm is currency. 3. Menglong's voice. Menglong spoke first.
Soft.
Even. Almost polite. Not the voice fans recognized from interviews or dramas, but the one reserved for rooms without windows. He didn't deny anything. He didn't accuse. He asked a question so simple it cut through the air. If the camera is on, who benefits? No answer came immediately, because the answer was already in the car. 4. The driver, who wasn't driving. The driver never turned around. That detail haunted investigators. Most drivers glance back at some point, confirmation, curiosity, instinct. This one didn't. His eyes stayed fixed on the road, hands steady at 10 and 2, like a man following instructions to the letter. At a red light, his reflection briefly aligned with the back seat, and that's when analysts noticed something chilling. He wasn't wearing a company badge. He was wearing an earpiece. 5. The conversation that changed the air. Midway through the ride, the engine noise dipped, swallowed by a tunnel. The outside world disappeared. And that's when the real exchange allegedly happened. No threats. No shouting. Just reminders. Of contracts signed too young. Of exits promised but never delivered. Of careers that move forward only when someone else stays still. Du Qiang finally spoke. If this leaks, he said, it won't end where you think. Menglong didn't look at him. It already leaked, he replied. That's why we're here. The camera we saw was never meant to expose them. It was meant to warn them. 6. The cut that saved lives. Here's where the footage breaks. According to a post-production source, the next 30 seconds were deliberately destroyed, not blurred, not censored, but physically overwritten. That kind of deletion takes authority, access, and urgency. Why delete it? Because those 30 seconds allegedly showed something no scandal could survive. A third voice.
Calm.
Detached. Unidentified. This conversation is concluded, it said. Remember your roles. The taxi slowed. Not stopped, slowed. And the red blinked off. 7. The drop-off that never made sense. The taxi didn't pull up to a building. It stopped between destinations, an empty stretch of sidewalk where nothing waited except shadow. Menglong exited first, straightening his coat, eyes forward, expression unreadable. Du Qiang followed, hesitating for half a breath. He looked back inside the car and nodded, not in agreement but in acknowledgement. The door closed. The taxi drove on. 8. The aftershock. What followed was not chaos, but precision. Accounts frozen quietly. Schedules rearranged overnight. Names removed without explanation. The industry didn't panic. It adjusted. Because everyone understood what the taxi represented, a reminder that visibility is conditional and silence is enforced not with violence, but with erasure. 9. The question no one asks. People still argue online about what happened that night. Was it a meeting? A warning? A setup? But the most dangerous question is the one rarely asked. If that camera was allowed to leak? Video camera, what footage was deemed too important to ever be seen? 10. The taxi keeps moving. Somewhere, another ride is happening. Another conversation in motion. Another red blinking quietly above a mirror. And somewhere else, someone is learning the same lesson Menglong and Du Qiang learned that night. The camera doesn't need to show the truth. It only needs to remind you that it's always watching.